Okay people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight I'm taking a look at the Figma Avengers Hulk figure. And I don't usually do Figma. There are other Avengers figures. They look stylized, they look a little bit cartoony. So when they solicited this figure, which looks realistic to the movie, I kind of had to do a double take because I'm a figure arts kind of guy. I have the figure arts Marvel figures. They look just like the movie. They look like little half-scale Hot Toys. But then figure arts solicited their Hulk and it was like wrong green. And it looks kind of joiny and gappy. I don't even know what's going on with the face. The eyebrows are out of control. It looks cartoony. I was kind of ass backwards the way they did this. I needed the Figma Hulk to complete my figure arts Avengers. But who am I to judge? I'm just a hillbilly with a toy fetish, and I just like good toys, and this looked like the better toy, so I got the Figma. I'm sure the figure arts is articulated as all get out, and this one doesn't even look like it has an ab crunch, but it looks like Hulk from the movie. Now this is a pretty big box. It's actually bigger than I thought it was going to be. Hulk inside the window, but they have him wrapped up in so much plastic he's hard to see. So the window here doesn't really help a lot. Pretty picture on the side, pretty pictures on the back, more stuff I can't read. And then, yeah, just pretty pictures all the way around. So I'm going to get him out of the package and see how he works with my other figure arts figures, even though this isn't a figure arts. It's so confusing. And there we go, out of the package. And this figure is kind of amazing. The first thing you notice right out of the box is the sculpt. It's powerful. It's a little bit soft, but not soft in a way that, you know, that it's lost sculpt somewhere. It's soft like a dude with skin, if that makes any sense at all. Then the paint, it's a nice shade of green. It's kind of olivey, kind of a tint of yellow in there. But then it has this overspray in the muscle striations. And at first when you look at it, you think, that's messy. But in pictures and in normal lighting, whoa, it's so pretty. Another thing about the figure is it doesn't feel like plastic. Again, all I can say is it feels kind of like a skin. Not in a nasty way, you know, I'm holding some part of a body, but it has a texture to it, kinda. And here I am rubbing it all seductively and such, but it's not plasticky, and it's very matte. There's no shine to it, like really skin. Now there was a learning curve I had to get over with Figma. I hadn't really messed with one before, so I don't know if they all do this, but it's kind of weird how the joints are set up. First of all, the pegs don't really have any kind of mushroom to them. It's just really friction. Getting that off, it's pretty easy. But then the forearm comes off too. It's like a skeleton under there. The reason I found this was because this was on and I went to push this on, and when I did, the forearm slid forward. Not a problem. It's just weird to me, having never messed with that before. So when you're sticking the hands on, you either have to push from the elbow or straighten the arm. That way you get full push on it. And it's the same for the legs. It pops the leg out of socket. This is a hollow piece with a hole in it, and the peg's down in the knee. It's not a huge deal. It stays on there for most of the time. When you get crazy with it, it kind of comes apart. My last deal was it crunches here, but if you go too far, his back pops up over his pants. The pants are kind of a soft material at the waist, so you got to kind of push it out and get the body back in there. And I'm only pointing all that out because it's just the mechanics of the Figma figure, I guess, because I've never experienced that before. Now, when you get bent right here, the joint does kind of stick out right here, and then in the back of the knees, it's pretty obvious that there's a joint there. But it's made that way for range of motion because you can get really high up for a big muscly character like this. And I don't know if I forgot about it. I'm getting old, I'm getting forgetful, but I noticed the seam right here before I pulled the instructions out, and the eyes are movable in there. I don't care for the feature. I mean, it's a nifty feature, but man, the work you have to put into to try to get the eyes lined up straight is just insane. Little bit, off, all the way around. It comes with this little tool to put on the stick for the eyeball that makes it easier to move around. It's a neat feature, but I don't see myself using it a lot. On top of that, the face sculpt is asymmetrical. His left eye is open wider than his right eye. He's kind of doing a Popeye thing. And the sculpt kind of reflects that, with his face being crunched up right here and not so much on this side. So it doesn't look bad, but with the eye feature, it makes it even harder to line up. For articulation, you have a ball on top of a hinge, and the ball gets some movement out of it. You can get some tilt, you can get some up, and you get a little bit of down. But if you use the neck hinge, it comes down, back, and then side to side. Hinge and swivel at the shoulders. It comes up about right there, and then swivels all the way around. Hinge at the elbow, and it gets a little bit further than you think it would. It comes up over 90. It has a swivel there too. It's a ball joint in the hand. It's a peg sticking down into the hand, so you get fairly good range of movement all the way around, and then it swivels. No torso joint, but it would break this beautiful chest. Even though I think the chest is a little bit small for Hulk, it's a beautiful sculpt. But there is a ball down in the waist, and you can get a lot of range out of it. Side to side, you can crunch forward, and then you go back. It's not your traditional ab crunch, but you can get crunched over pretty good. Hinge and swivel in the hips, you can get out. You can get forward to about right there, but the hips aren't as good as I hope they would be. You can get back, then you get some swivel. Knees, like we talked about a minute ago, past 90. There's a hinge in the foot. You can get forward, you can get back, you can get tilt, and it does break the foot up a little bit. Like I was talking about with the figure arts looking gappy and broken up. The feet are like that on this figure, especially on the inside, to leave room for it to tilt in. And then there's a toe joint. You don't get a lot of movement out of the toe joint, about right there, but it works for Hulk. Now for hands, he comes with 2 open hands right out of the package. These are very expressive. I kind of like these more than the fists, and you guys know me, I usually go for the fists, but while being a good sculpt, and I like my Hulk with fists, for some reason there's a hole down through the middle, like he's supposed to be holding a lollipop or something. Yeah, I don't know why the hole's there. Since the open hands came on the figure, they're pretty easy to take on and off. The fists, though, are massively difficult to get on there. It's like the peg is almost too big for the hole. Yeah, the fist looks good. It's just, whenever you have it like that, it's, what's he doing? I don't know. Now, since I said I would put him in my figure arts display because really they're more movie accurate, this Hulk does seem kind of large for the figure arts figures. The figure arts tend to be a little bit smaller than most of your 6-inch figures. And really, I'm good with this. It's Hulk. He can be big. It's okay. Here he is with the Marvel Legends Avengers Hulk. So at the end of the day, I am super happy with this figure. It's amazing. It's my first really big foray into Figma. But like I said, you can look at the other figures. They look kind of cartoony. I'm not really into that. But this is beautiful. Yes, it does get a little bit gappy whenever you use the articulation, but the sculpt itself is like, all I can say is artwork. It just looks good. It just oozes Hulkness. The big problem comes down to, is it worth $100? Figure Arts is pushing $60, $70. I guess when you compare it to the prices of other import figures and the size and really how good this looks, $100 is okay. It's not that I ever wanted to pay $100 for an action figure. If I hadn't got it, I would have seen reviews, I would have seen other people's pictures and thought, man, I really want that figure. That looks fantastic. That's how I got into the Star Wars figure arts. But Figma being what they are, I don't see myself buying a lot more. So splurging on the one Hulk figure from the line, I'm good with that. So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the Fwoosh. Now looking at the figure itself, because of how the articulation is set up in the shoulders, whenever you get them into the neutral position and close the gap, which you can open it up, when you close the gap, the arms don't sit down at the sides, but I feel like this is accurate, you know? Chris Evans is so buffed up that I feel like his arms don't go down like that. It's just how his body works. I wouldn't know.